Like to call the District of Chetwynd Council meeting to order. January 8th, 2024. I'd like the opening statement read, please.
As we gather today on the traditional territory of the Treaty 8 Nations to conduct the business of the District of Chetwynd, we do so knowing that we are privileged to serve the citizens of this community, and we shall endeavor to conduct our business in their best interests. Thank you.
Thank you. Prior to adoption of the agenda, is there any new business? Not hearing any. Adoption of the agenda?
I'll make the motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Minutes of the regular council meeting held on December 11th, 2023.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion on errors or omissions? All those in favor? Carried. Don't see any delegations. Just a point on the delegations. We were asked once about Area E Director Dan Rose, and I had talked to him, and he's willing to come and participate as a delegation. So if we will send a letter out to Director Rose.
Yes, Your Worship, it was done just before Christmas. I emailed him.
Thank you very much. Bylaws. District of Chetwynd Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 116, 2023, pertaining to 4841, 4845, 4849, and 4853 52nd Avenue Southwest. Requires third reading and adoption.
I'll make that recommendation that the District of Chetwynd zoning amendment bylaw 1166 2023 be introduced and given first, second, and third readings, and that a public hearing be scheduled to obtain public input on the above bylaw. Oh, what's today? January.
Yep. Second?
Second.
Yes.
Actually, point of order, that was the public hearing we just had.
Yes. Any discussion on it? All those in- clarifications? Staff?
This one's a bigger. Yes, for tonight, it's third reading.
Okay. Clarification? Councillor Dick? You're happy with that? We're
And third reading.
just third reading?
Yeah.
You're good with that? Second? Yeah. Okay. Councillor McDonald's accepts. Okay. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Okay, go ahead. Councillor?
Just to
What?
clarify that
Yes.
this is the third reading and adoption.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay, we're all clear? All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw B2, District of Chetwynd Revenue Anticipation Bylaw number 1167 2023 requires adoption.
Motion to adopt.
Any discussion on it? Councillor?
Thank
Nelson?
you. Thank you. I just think it's important for our community to understand. I remember asking the very question last
Mhm.
year when we went through this as well, that maybe we need a little bit of explanation from Kevin, as this is a standard practice annually, not that the District of Chetwynd is going to randomly go into debt for a couple $1 million. Kevin, do you mind just clarification for a public purpose?
Okay, the bylaw essentially works like an overdraft for the district. It provides us with some operating capital if we need it, but it has to be repaid in full by the end of the year from current tax revenue. So it's not an ongoing debt that we can accumulate and take forward. It's just something that we have available to us if we need something for cash flow.
And do you foresee that being necessary for 2024?
No, I'm not anticipating that we will use any of the funds on that. It's just something that we have in place just in case, so that if something did come up, an emergency of some kind or whatever, that we've got it covered.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up question, Kevin. When was the last time that was used that?
This bylaw has been in place every year since I've been here for 17 years, and to my knowledge, we haven't used it yet, so.
Thank you. Any more discussion on it? All those in favor? Carried. Committee reports. I have a little blurb here that we weren't that busy, so Happy New Year, everyone. And there's nomination papers for the vacant councillor at our municipal office. So anyone interested in helping us out, helping the community out, file their papers at the municipal office, pick them up, and get them put in place. Thank you very much, and we will have another successful year. Any other liaisons? Reports?
The Chet TV had their annual budget meeting, and they distributed monies from the bingo. Although not all the grants were given in full, all the applicants were given grants. So there was enough money to operate the radio and TV station, and there wasn't a lot left over, but everybody did get a small grant that applied. That's it.
Any other reports? With Councillor Oscar.
I didn't prepare anything formal, but I feel like an update on the library is important. So construction is behind schedule, and last meeting in December, we are supposed to be receiving keys mid-January. I don't have a further update beyond what I heard in December. I feel like the ladies at the library are very pleased to not have to be moving right at Christmas time, as the keys were supposed to be handed over during that time frame. So I don't know exactly when, but I feel like the first quarter of 2024, we are going to be able to step foot in our beautiful new library. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to accept reports.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Carried. Correspondence, no discussion items. We got correspondence. Anything to pull from the correspondence, councillors? I have one letter from Minister Kang, Minister of Municipal Affairs, to discuss. Any others?
Let's also have a look at C3 letter from Northern Health, please.
Any others? Okay, let's, we need to take C1, C4, C5, C6, 7, 8. Need a motion to accept or
I'll make that motion to accept C1, C4 to C8.
Second.
okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, let's go to C7. C2, letter from Minister Ann Kane. We've been after our taxation for industry, our satellite industry for our community. And satellite is, we have communities outside, industry outside that we have a tax base with. So we try to apply taxes so that we can improve our quality in Chetwynd for infrastructure and everything that we need in our community. So this is a pretty big base to draw from. Right now, we are slotted in at 18 per mil for this community, and we can't raise it any higher because I believe in the past it was set there, and that was the ceiling they set for us. And right now, we were talking to the Minister of Affairs, Municipal Affairs, and this year we had high hopes that it was going to be looked at and maybe changed. So she wrote us a letter that kind of indicated that, and in the last month or two, we've got responses that weren't very nice, to say that it wasn't looking very bright. I would just like to read some of the excerpts from the letter, and maybe council and myself will discuss a little bit of this. It says, I appreciate your effort to reach out to industry to engage on the issue to date. As discussed, Ministry of Municipal Affairs staff will review financial data from Chetwynd as it becomes available. And I'm going to stop right there. And this data that they're talking about, we've been sending that for the last 4 years, or since I've been in office. So every year we've sent that. Is that correct, Kevin, financial officer?
We have been providing the province with information, and as they requested, for going on 8 or 9 years now with regards to this particular issue. So,
and to continue with a little bit about our taxes, we as a community, our residential taxes is something that we hold dearly to each and every one of us. To the last 2 or 3 years, we've been keeping our taxes low to the residents so that we don't have to burden them with the cost of another increase in any kind of tax. We've got carbon taxes, we've got taxes on the groceries, we've got all kinds of taxes that come at us. As an individual and as a resident of Chetwynd, it feels like you get taxed every time you turn around. And industry certainly wants to help. Let's not beat around the bush about how we get our jobs done here. And industry, this is an industrial-based community, which we all live in, and we all know that. And for our provincial government not to help us out in this way to increase our mill rate for industry does not help us at all. And we don't want to be sitting here looking at a tax increase for our residents because we need some paving, some sewer systems to be replaced. So all this comes down to taxation. And I would like to go and ask the Minister of Municipal Affairs, how are we going to continue to do all these things that we do if grants run out? Because we do run on grants. We all see the reports on how we get grants and what we do with them. And that's good on our staff that we have grants to get these things done. When that runs out, how are we going to continue in that fashion? So one of the things that I asked council is to maybe read some of this. And I had a hard time the last 5 years trying to figure out how many communities are in this position. I thought when I first started, I thought it was maybe quite a few, but I've since found out that we only have maybe one other one, two others. So, you know, we just feel like we're out there in the middle of the lake in a little raft. So it's quite discerning to me that we have to be in that position. And the letter at the end, thank you again for your delegation for taking time to meet with me. I look forward to continuing work with your council. So we got letters, we've got a response, and I'm just going to pass this one over to our CAO on the last response we got from the minister or her office.
Okay, so we received this letter and I sent an email back to staff saying basically that, you know, we're continually revisiting the same points. We're asked to contact industry and get industry on board. We're dealing sometimes with multinational corporations who aren't even headquartered in Canada. And so we don't get responses. You know, we send emails, we hear nothing back. I had, after I sent the email, and it was fairly terse and fairly blunt, I got an email from key staff for the ministry asking for a phone call, and we had a really productive phone conversation. And they've agreed that they will reach out to industry in the new year and see if they can't leverage more of a response. We talked about, you know, I was clear about, you know, there's two communities, Logan Lake and the port of Prince Rupert, that have a similar tax cap. Premier Eby was in the news just before Christmas saying that he's back at the bargaining table, is how he put it, to change the port tax cap for Prince Rupert. And this could be one of the reasons that ours has been kind of dragging on, is because it sets a precedent. Logan Lake has kind of withdrawn from negotiating on removal of it for whatever reasons. I don't know why. So that kind of leaves us. But what staff told me is despite how, you know, my initial take on this letter, they haven't stopped the process, and that it will be ongoing in 2024. It's obviously going to be slow, but there is still some room for maneuvering there. And they are reaching out to industry now, which is a huge step for us. It's the first really active assistance we've received from the province in probably a decade, and I'm really pleased with that. They keep saying, well, we have to get industry on board. Industry won't talk to us, and then we tell them that, and they say, well, you have to get industry on board. And I keep saying, well, industry's not static. You know, we have new companies coming in, old companies leaving. So how do we project what this costs us when we don't know who's going to be here? And I think they're finally hearing this. You know, I used Canfor as an example. We hear there's a sale in the works. We don't know who, we don't know what it's going to be, we don't know how it impacts us. It's hard for me to tell them how that impacts our tax structure in 10 years, but that's what they've been asking of Kevin. And I've been very clear with them now that this is not fair. They need to have reasonable requests, not expect us to read the future. And they seem to be hearing that.
Thanks, Steve. When you say they, are you referring to Brittany Johnson from the local government infrastructure? Who is it that's actually making some moves for Chetwynd?
Well, there's a team of 5 or 6 individuals, and they shift. Brittany and another person named Karen Lynch are the two that have been dealing with the most. Karen is a really experienced bureaucrat. Like she's been with the provincial government for a period of decades. And she's the one that's actually proposed reaching out to industry and actively assisting us with the process.
Okay, so in Minister Kang's letter, it stated that consultation with the affected industry and a full financial analysis of the municipality's current state and long-term needs. So this team of people is actually taking these steps that are required on our behalf. Is that correct?
Yes, they're helping us take the steps. As stated before, like with Minister Kang, where she says industry needs to be consulted,
the ministry is now going to help us with that consultation with industry. And that'll be help. I believe Kevin supplied them with all the financial data they've requested to this point, but there might be one or two small things you're working on still, Kevin? Or are you up to?
There is one small one I still have to finish off for them from the latest go around.
Yeah. And see, this is part of it is Kevin will provide them all the documentation that they've asked for, and they'll say, okay, that's great. Now give us this, this, and this. So he does that, and then, okay, now we need this. So it's kind of, it's been frustrating for all of us, but I think we're finally showing a little bit of headway.
So how do we organize a consultation with the affected industry? I understand that you said that it's varying, which I do get, but what does that look like?
That's exactly the question I've been asking. Is like I met I can't think of the gentleman's name, but he's the president of Canooma Coal. I met him at Dawson Creek last year, and I got his email contact. I emailed him directly about this, and he never responded. We've got I mean, we have a folder that's 3 inches thick of reaching out to different industries, and with very little response. But the ministry is now reaching out to industry, and that has a total different flavor to it. And they have a totally different set of contact information that we don't have, right? So that's why I say I have some cautious optimism that we're actually making some progress now.
So after, when did the letter patent that she mentions here, when did that first occur?
The original letters patent was 1998, and then the District of Chetwynd got the satellite industry tax cap levied of $18 per thousand in about 2007, I'm going to say. And then the District of Chetwynd's been actively trying to get that lifted for about the last 10 years. I believe 2016 was about when, or no, sorry. Yeah, it's been about 10 years. It was the 20 and teens.
Can you remind us, Steve, what the average tax rate would be for industry in kind of surrounding communities?
To bring that up, we're running less than half, I would say, of the average. Some communities are running down around the $30 per thousand rate, and the high side is Tumbler Ridge, which is just under $100. They run 99.65 as of the end of last year. So they'll see, and every community that I list here will raise this industry satellite tax by 5%, at least in 2024, because as we tax industry, all of their assets depreciate. So if our tax base isn't going up to match the depreciation that's going down, then we just lose that amount. So we're not at the same $18 per thousand that we were. We've lost all that depreciation value as well. So it's an exponential algorithm. If we're not going up, we're losing ground every year. We're not maintaining anything, we're losing. And so I would be comfortable in saying we're less than half if you averaged out the communities for around here, just for around here.
I feel like I just wish there was something more that we could do, because I understand that we have to work within a budget, and as council, we're working on balancing our budget. And the options seem like we have to put it on the residents when I feel like industry wants to pay, or do they? I don't know.
And this was my argument with ministry staff at Christmas time was by not allowing us to tax the same way as every other municipality basically in the province, you're penalizing our residents. And some of these residents just lost their employment with the closing of one of our major industries and our only major industry in town, right? So it's not what it should be. It's not a fair share. And I agree that industry in general, if if they, if people approach the industry as paying their fair share, they would probably do it. But if it's just one person emailing them, they're going to say, well, no, why would we? Kind of thing. So I think having the ministry on board will help. And you ask what you can do, and what you folks can do as mayor and council is, like, every time I have anybody in the government ask me what they can do to help our town, like all the way through the CANFOR process, this is why this got revisited, is because the Ministry of Jobs and Economic Development asked what they could do to help us. And I said, you can help us by helping us get rid of this tax cut, because it's penalizing people that have already been penalized. And so other ministry staff started putting pressure on this ministry staff. And that's where we actually started to see an increase in communication. So anytime anybody in the government says, what can we do to help Chetwynd? You can say, you can help us get rid of our satellite industry tax cap, $18 per 1,000 assessed value. Write it down, keep it in your pocket, and just say it anytime anybody asks you. At the Natural Resources Forum, when I have different ministries ask me what they can do to help Chetwynd, that's what I'll be telling them. And some of them hate me by this point, but I think it's what this community really needs. I think it's something that we can do that will really help our town and our residents.
Any more? Yep, go ahead, Councillor Dick.
So, Mr. Eby was on TV, said about Prince Rupert. Would now be a great time to send him a short letter or give him a description of our predicament that we've been in?
It's something that mayor and council can do. It's similar to, you folks are encouraged to not speak directly to staff, except through me. You have one employee who's your CAO, right? We're a fair bit more loose about that than most communities, because we're a smaller town and there's a lot of personal relationships, and we don't fight that too hard. But it's generally would be considered inappropriate for me to directly email the premier and ask him about this. But nothing stops elected officials from talking to elected officials. So that's generally the rule of thumb. So elected officials speak to elected officials and staff speak to staff. So I'm working staff, but you folks are more than welcome to contact the premier.
So who draws the letter? You just seem to have the most knowledge.
Well, that would probably be my job, but you folks would sign it. I can do up a letter and I can send it out for approval from council and just ask. I would recommend that we give the ministry like a couple of weeks just to see if they're going to hold good on their promise. I'll be contacting Karen Lynch again this week and Brittany and say, have we made any headway in contacting industry, and remind that I'm still here. And if I don't get a good response, then I'll have that letter ready and ready to go.
Can you just draft them up before the 2 weeks, and we'll?
Oh yeah, it will draft up this week.
Okay.
I've got it about half done.
Okay, perfect. And when you say slow, 10 years, that's pretty slow. When we started all this to create or generate some taxation for what we do in our community. Thank you. Councillor?
Yeah, I'll just add, I feel like we do have a grand opportunity here with the BC Natural Resource Forum coming up next week. We could potentially have the captive ear of Premier Eby, and we could potentially have mayor and council provide this information verbally and see what he has to say, because maybe he just doesn't know.
And thank you so much. That's exactly what I'm suggesting is things like this forum. That's why we send you folks to them, right? And myself and staff we network. And the mayor had an excellent networking session, and the councillors that were there with us at UBCM with Minister Kang. We made some headway, and that helps. It all helps. And basically the more respectful and polite noise we make about it, and how we're relentless but always professional, is what gives us the headway.
Okay. Thanks, Steph. Okay, so letter being drawn, We're going to give a couple weeks or 3 weeks maybe to a response from our minister so that we can continue to fight the good fight for Chetwynd and the taxpayers who live and work in these industries. Okay, if there isn't any more on the letter to Ms. King, Minister King, we go to C3. Letter from Northern Health dated December 1st, 2023. Councillor Nelson?
Yeah, so this is a reflection of the meeting from UBCM in September with Northern Health and Mayor Council CAO that was in attendance, and I was in attendance. My mayor and my colleague Councillor Deck had a fair bit to say, and I felt like Northern Health was listening, but I also feel like all the sessions that they had with communities around British Columbia were sharing similar stories that we are coming down to staffing. And if we look through this letter, I think what I wanted to really bring up was that they're stating that the administrator from the Chetwynd Hospital works closely with the community, and we're encouraged by Northern Health to work more closely with our own hospital as kind of a solution to the problems. I'm certain that Northern Health is working on something, but they kind of put it back on us to really get the actual work done. And I feel like if that's Northern Health's answer, then maybe we do need to be more proactive, and instead of waiting for them to do something, potentially we need to pull our socks up. And I know that some of my colleagues don't approve of spending taxpayers' money on what lots of us believe that Northern Health should be spending their funds on. But it might be the only way to actually get things done. And I believe that saving lives within our community is probably more important than having an argument about who should be doing the work.
Debate instead of argue. Thank you, Councillor Nelson. Councillor Deck?
I agree. Our community comes first. The health of our community comes first. I just think it's another tax. Everything we do for Northern Health is something that the community is already paid for full and should be getting right now, as is, no bones about it. And they just keep asking for more and 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 more.
Yes, and didn't our community do such a good job of putting up a new medical clinic? We're purchasing vehicles, housing.
Is that vehicle a done deal yet?
No, we have not purchased a vehicle yet. It's carried over to 2024.
We did purchase a duplex for them for Northern Health. We've got a house up there. I'm not sure that all the residents of Chetwynd are aware how much we actually do for Northern Health. And I think some of them would kind of come unglued if they knew they're paying taxes already. I think we should be withholding taxes from the provincial government for the lack of service. Period. That's my opinion. And then if we keep that money, and then we can put it into the hospital or whatever we need to that way. We aren't supposed to be distributing those monies. Provincial government isn't that. It's their. They took over the hospital. Apparently it was run quite well by a local group here to begin with when it was built. And they took it over. And in the past, when I came in here, we had 3 or 4 doctors. That was plenty. And the town hasn't grown that much. Like, it hasn't grown by 2,000 people or 1,000 people for that matter, or a couple hundred. We're just not getting our money's worth for our taxpayer. And it's going to cost, sooner or later, it's going to cost somebody dearly.
Councillor Donald?
I believe we met with Rebecca Borton when she first took on this position, and I want to say we've got to be edging up to 6 months to a year since we last spoke to her. I would like to potentially arrange a meeting with her to see what her recruitment initiatives are, and now that she's in the position and working for our benefit, before we go any further, would be my opinion.
I think Rebecca is great for the community. She knows the community, she's from it. And if there's any plus, it's gonna be her, but anybody above her has just been a real stumbling block for us.
Yes, I agree with the stumbling block of Northern Health, dealing with them for the last 5 years. We've we built the previous council prior to me built the office for them. They've done many things for Northern Health, and I agree. If we're going to do something, I mean, advocating to Becky Borton and to all the ministers that are involved, to have us create our own spending spree is not the solution right now. We've already, I think, went beyond what we should do as a small community. But I believe all these things that we've done in the past have helped to retain some nurses and some doctors, and it is good for our community that the mayor and council do this for our community. So, which is very important to show the nurses that do come in, because they are humans, human beings just like us, just regular people, that they hold the doctor's degree and the nursing degree. So we are doing stuff from our community right now. What do you suggest, Councillor Nelson? Go ahead.
Well, thank you. I'm not suggesting that we spend taxpayers' money. I'm suggesting that as mayor and council, we step forward and become very proactive and very serious about recruitment, about supporting, and about coming together with the powers that be to make something happen. Because I think that sitting back quietly is not working. Clearly, when Northern Health sends us this letter that kind of says, just go take care of it, I say, why not? Let's take care of it. We'll require some financial assistance, though.
Councillor Day?
And I agree, but it appeared like we've done in the past. You wouldn't believe what we've been through in the past. It's been very trying to get movement. It's not the doctors, it's not the nurses, it's not the cooks, it's not the cleaners, it's not the people in town here that we're having the issues. It's above and beyond, and it's like talking to a wall sometimes. It's really tough.
Well, this has been something we've heard an abundance of from our community members. If council agrees, I wouldn't mind actually setting a meeting with Rebecca Borton. What do you guys think?
Staff?
I have noted in my daytimer to invite Ms. Morton in as a delegation, and she can give us an update, and then we could have some conversation. Also, just as I don't know if people noticed, but our MLA Mike Bernier was on Facebook this weekend in front of our hospital protesting the another closure, another diversion. And there's also a video out with a local homegrown diagnostic imaging person talking about all the benefits of living and working in Chetwynd. It's a very warm video, and she talks about how much she likes the team she works with. So I think that with Rebecca Borton in, we're seeing a definite uptick in effort. Somebody contacted Mike Bernier. Somebody got this person to make this video, and I would guess it would be back on her. So there is some hope there, but I have it in my book to invite her as a delegation.
Okay. Okay. Last word?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I guess mine is that dealing with Northern Health, and it's never been with the administrator here in Chetwynd. Okay. Onward. Do we need to make any motion and correspondence to receive C2 and C3?
I'll make the motion to receive C2 and C3.
Second.
All those in favor? Carried. Information items. Information items, C I1 to I11. Anything in there, councillors?
Motion to receive CI.
I
One through
one, I-11, to I-11, okay.
Second.
All those in favor? Carried. There's no reports for action, reports for information, no new business. Any questions from public or media? Okay, adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Adjourn.
Oh, hey, away. Hey, hey, oh, hey, away. Hey, oh, hey. Hey, hey, oh, hi, away. Hey, oh, hey, oh. Remember me, when the sun comes up in the morning sky. There I will be, soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me, down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Hello, hey, Hey, way, oh, way, they are, oh, hey, oh, hey. Hey, way, oh.
The Lion Inn and Suites and the Red Lion Restaurant are independently owned and operated by Ken and Lily Chan. With daily, weekly, and monthly rates, the Lion is perfect for visitors to stay one night, a few days, or for the duration of a job in the Peace region. As a guest, stay in one of our 19 modern suites with brand-name mattresses, fully equipped kitchens, exotic hardwood flooring, and coin-operated laundry machines. Enjoy all the amenities of home. Have a little time to relax? Each one of our suites includes a giant flat-screen TV, complimentary cable television, and free internet access. The Lion Inn and Suites is wheelchair accessible and staff is on duty 24/7, providing round-the-clock security. So, for your next getaway, come experience our brand new luxury suites. For reservations, call 250-788-9990. Reserve online at thelionsuite.com or email thelionssuites@gmail.com. 5132 46th Avenue Northwest, Chetwynd, BC. The Lion Inn and Suites, your executive home away from home.
The YMCA of Northern BC is currently seeking passionate individuals to join our team of early childhood educators. Our educators receive competitive wages, extended benefits, paid sick days, childcare discounts, 3 weeks of vacation, and a bonus of up to $1,000. We believe our people are our greatest asset. Join our team and start your exciting and meaningful career today. One team, one mission, endless possibilities.